When he asked what I meant, I told him that if that kid, as long as the bully is only taunting him with words, then he should always walk away, but if he ever did try to put peanut butter on you, then you hit him as hard as you can with the side of your hand in the throat. Kind like a throat chop. Then you stop unless the bully keeps trying. Fast forward to this very afternoon and I get a call from the principal of the school saying that my son assaulted another student and needed to be picked up. I asked what happened and of course they won't talk about it over the phone. But I smiled a little bit because I already knew. I get to school and I see my kid sitting in the office, tears streaming down his face. So I walk in and the principal tries talking to me, but I blow right past her and ask my kid what happened. He says the bully had peanut butter on his fingers and he was threatening to wipe it on his face. Then my kid said that he did what I told him to do and hit the kid in the throat because he wiped peanut butter on his arm. I looked at his arm that was pretty swollen up, and asked him if he was having trouble breathing. Kid said he was fine, just a little shaky. At this point the principal interrupts with her, "We can't just have kids hitting other children just because they had a little peanut butter wiped on them. Kids do this kind of thing. We are gonna have to suspend him for a few days." It's obvious to me that principal is clueless about the peanut allergy, so I cut her off and asked my kid if he told the bully to stop before he hit the other kid. He said yes. I yelled at him several times that I'm allergic to peanut butter and told him to stop, and he just kept acting like he was gonna wipe it on me. Now the principal has a shocked look on her face. I asked to see the video from the cafeteria and my kid can be seen and heard screaming and trying to back away from his bully. At the point where it looks like the bully grabs my kid's arm, my kid yells at the top of his little lungs, "I told you to stop." Then he grabs the bully by the arm, pulls him towards himself and executes the best clothesline I've ever seen anyone do and floors this kid. Then my kid sits down and starts crying in the middle of the cafeteria. At this point I tell the principal that if my kid isn't allowed back at school tomorrow, I was consulting with a lawyer about the attempted unaliving of my son. I also said that assuming he didn't have any other ill effects from this, I would be fine not pressing charges against the school and the bully, since it looks like he may have already learned his lesson. Since I didn't get a response and it's been about half an hour since the peanut butter was wiped on my kid's arm, I picked him up and left to take him to the ER to get checked out. About 10 minutes ago I got a phone call from the school board superintendent saying that the school board has decided to let my kid come back to school tomorrow. Kid has a clean bill of health from the hospital. Swelling is starting to go down after some epinephrine. I have been invited to a meeting with the school board Thursday afternoon. We'll update afterwards. Just left the meeting, which wasn't with the school board as I was led to believe on the phone. It was with the principal and a legal representative from the school board. Had lawyer with me and prior to this meeting, and we discussed what I wanted out of this meeting. My main concerns were making sure that there was a procedure in place to keep allergens away from my child and ensuring that this child has no ability to assault my child again. I also wanted to know how it was that the principal wasn't informed or aware of my child's allergy prior to trying to tell me that he was going to be suspended. Lawyers talked legal stuff for a little bit while I listened and principal listened. Eventually my turn to talk came and I simply explained points 1 and 2 above. I also asked why principal didn't take time to assess the whole situation. The explanation I got was that she was told by the monitor that it was almond butter, not peanut butter, by the monitor, so she really didn't look further into it. Which I can understand her point, but it doesn't make things any better from my perspective. The bully child has been moved to a different school. Unfortunately, I don't have any legal recourse to find out which school he has been moved to and frankly don't care. Cafeteria monitor has been fired. I didn't hear this at the meeting, but my son's teacher called last night after school and told me. I asked why and I was told that she was distracted by her phone when all of the commotion started, which explains why this was allowed to progress in the first place. Based on the recommendation of a friend and many of you via PM, I requested, and was accommodated with, an allergy-free table at our school, and I'm being told every other school in the district will be implementing one as well, where children with no allergies will eat lunch at, and anyone who eats with them will have their lunches inspected by a teacher and a monitor to ensure no allergens are present. Now the weird stuff. The kid probably did wipe almond butter on my son. Kid's parent found out through a mutual friend where we lived and showed up at my house last night. The bully kid was very apologetic to me and asked if he could apologize to my son, which I said yes, of course too. I invited parents and son into the living room and this child started crying and said he didn't mean to hurt my son. My son started crying as well and said he didn't want to hit him and he apologized as well. Then the parents asked bully child to explain what happened. So apparently this kid likes peanut butter and almond butter, and his almond butter on a sandwich and little pack of peanut butter in his lunch for crackers. Bully child thought it would be funny to continue to tormenting from yesterday, said something about putting peanut butter on my son and put a little bit on his fingers to make him think it was peanut butter. Then he wiped them off afterwards and got some of the almond butter from his sandwich, and that's what was on his hands when he grabbed my son's arm. I can only guess that there was a little peanut residue left on the bully's hands when he grabbed my son, which explains the subdued swelling reaction. I asked the kid if he knew what a peanut allergy actually does to a person, which to the other parents' credit, they had actually made him read WebMD about it, and he explained the whole inability to breath and some other things his mind grasped onto. So I took the opportunity to show this young man the EpiPen needle. We have one that we've had to use previously just for show and tell purposes, that you have to stick a person with in an anaphylactic shock scenario. Then I gave him the trainer unit and showed him where it goes and how to press the button. Yes, I told him it was the trainer unit, but I really thought hard about not telling him. I ultimately decided against it because that wouldn't make me any better than the bully kid in front of me. When the button actuated, I think he jumped about 15 feet in the air and he was obviously scared. Parents apologized again, as did the bully kid. I told all of them that I was satisfied that a lesson was learned here and I wouldn't be pursuing any additional charges against the kid or his parents. As the parents and bully kid are leaving, my son runs right past us all and gives the bully a hug and tells him that he hopes he isn't in too much trouble.